bhunaktu sahaviryankaravavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vishvam darpana dishyamana nagari tulyam nijantargatam pashyanatmani mayaya bahirivo bhutam nidhanataya yat sakshat kurute prabodha samaye swatmanamevadvayam tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaitam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. So we'll undertake now the next commentary by Swami Akhandananda. In his book, this is called Pravachna number 8 out of, I think, 35? So this is how far early we are in the whole process. And let's see how far we go. We'll do that systematically as we go along. So, he points out in the introduction to this, because this Pravachna number 8 means is the 8th talk that he has given. So here he says that we have given you the way of approaching your thought process, which is Drigdrishya Viveka, that they are different from each other, and all of that you've already given. And we were analyzing the Drishya more than Drik up to this point. We were doing that. Now let us embark on an analysis of the Drik little bit. They're all related, but the emphasis will now be on the analysis of the seer rather than the seen. And he says, I have to tell you that this is a little bit more difficult to grasp, but this is what we need to do. And this is where he points out, I think I had already given you that an example, that if you want to build something stronger, you have to challenge yourself. Otherwise, you are not going to. And we have a long process. It is easy to do if you are prepared, but if you're not prepared, then the preparation requires taking on more challenging ways of thinking. He gives the caution about that. So he says, okay, all right. You are a seer. He calls it a drashta. Drashta. Drashta means one who is we all know that we are observing things in our life. We are an observer. Even a child knows that. So now we say, but we don't quite understand the full nature of the drashta. We just assume that I am a drashta. Drashta means a seer. But what is the nature of the drashta, we have not really looked into. We need to understand it. The first thing that the drashta appears is that I am a doer. I am a karta. So I do things. I'm capable of doing. I should do, or I should avoid some things. So doing or not doing, all of that is part of what is called kartritvam. Kartritvam means a idea that I am a doer, I am capable of doing things, kartritvam. And similarly, you find that I get results of my doing. So I am a resultant of my actions. They may be good, they may be bad, I may be enjoying, I may be suffering. So this is what is called bhoktritvam. Bhokta, I am a bhokta. So I am simultaneously a karta and a bhokta. So this all comes in the experience. I walk, I work with my hands. Similarly, I see, I hear, and then the bhoktritvam comes through the mind. I'm happy. I am dissatisfied. I'm hopeful. All those kinds of things, mental conditions. So then the question is there a connection between me and my kartritvam and bhoktritvam? This is as we begin to analyze, this is what we have to put before us. And in doing so, and my original basic conclusion is yes, there is a connection. It's an individualistic thing. I am the doer, I am the sufferer. Your doing and your suffering belongs to you, not to me. I have my own doership and bhoktritvam. Everybody has their own individual kartritvam and bhoktritvam. Okay, so yes, the initial conclusion is that of course we are connected. In fact, that's what makes us who we are. So yeah, that's true. Okay, now let's analyze. And some of it we have already done, now we'll extend it further. If you analyze that whatever thoughts appear in my mind, they have been put from outside. They are not just me, they come from outside. They have been put there. How they have been put there is a different matter, but they have been put there. And this is what we did in our meditation this morning, that whatever is given to me, the very nature of things being given to me means that they come from outside. There is no experience which is not poured in to me from outside. And inside, there is a light of awareness that illumines the things that have been given to me. Right? So, there are two functions that are going on. One is, things are put into me. Now it's very obvious because at one time they were not there, but now there are, so they are come from outside, number one. Number two, I have the capability of knowing what has been given to me. It's not unknown to me. So I am the illuminator of things that have been given to me. That is really what I do. Now, these thoughts, including kartritvam, bhoktritvam, my sense of doing, enjoying, they all appear in terms of thoughts. So before I do, you cannot do anything, you cannot take any actions unless you have concluded that I am capable of doing something. I am a doer. And then what you do is, of course, depends on the circumstance. But as an entity, you accept that you are a doer. And you accept that you are an enjoyer. And even doership and enjoyership is also given to you. This is a faculty given to you. And you illumine the fact that you are a doer. You see? We can ask you, do you know that you are a doer? And you'll say, yes, of course. A doership means that I am capable of doing. I am used to it. It's very natural. And yet you know it. So now these thoughts can be categorized in two categories. Through viveka. The first level of viveka is that these things that I see are not me or mine, I am the illuminator of them. This is the first viveka. All the things that I see. Because they've been given to me. So I was there even before they were given to me, and I will be there if they happen to disappear, which I don't know whether they will or not. So I'm the illuminator. This is a viveka that I need to do. That all the things that I see are not me or mine, but I am the illuminator. The second viveka is that the body, what I take myself to be the body, and the mind is also not me or mine. This is more difficult, but eventually yields to vichara. In Shastra it says, vicharam na sahate, avicharita siddham dvaitam. These are very famous things. Vicharam na sahate. Vicharam na sahate means it cannot tolerate inquiry. It stays there. Your thinking that I am the body, I am the thoughts, stays there until you inquire into it. This is what happens. Swami Dayananji had given this very beautiful example. In the, I don't know if that still happens, but in the old days, that used to happen was, there will be a marriage in India. And there'll be a huge party going on where, next to the mandapam where the marriage is taking place, after that there is some dinner. And the dinner is not an ordinary dinner. These are sumptuous dinner with lots of different food and desserts and so on and so forth. And usually this is what happens. The girl's side is the one that makes it happen, and the boy's side are the guests to this. And they bring a large number of people. And the girl side also has friends and so on. So there are two large groups of people that come together for this dinner. And except for one or two people, nobody knows each other. Because you really have not gotten together with them. They are not your friends. They are completely separate people. But they are wonderful people. We are all coming together. So what used to happen would be these college kids that are always starved for good food. They don't get enough food. So what they do is they dress up a little bit so they don't look like lafangas. They just have a nice, maybe a jacket on or something like that. They look like they belong. And they just come in. Okay? So the girl's side thinks that it is from the boy's side. The boy's side thinks it is from the girl's side. So nobody questions them, and they just have fun and so on and so forth. And there's probably a group of them, they all come together. 3 or 4 people. And they kind of sit separately, So somebody from the side, girl's side usually, because they are footing the bill, they have to figure out who's here, who's not here. So they said, they just want to make sure that these are valid people. So they approach the boys' side and say, "Are they part of your family?" And the boys' people said, "No. We never heard of them. We assume they are part of your family." In the meantime, while this is going on, these kids are very clever. So when these 2 people are talking and pointing out to them, they said, "You know what? I think our game is over. We better leave before they..." So while before they're talking, they just leave their food and they just leave and then dust away. And this happens over and over again. In the November, December with the marriage season, these people just have a feast. If they cannot find it here, they go someplace else. It don't matter. This is the situation of the jiva. So what happens is, I think I am the body. And I am not being challenged until we start inquiring into it. Because jiva has a fun time living, you just enjoy and so on. You tolerate some of the bad things that happen to you because there's enough good things, so you just go from bhoga to bhoga to bhoga and so on. And sometimes when you start to have some problems, then the enquiry begins. So this is what is called vicharam na sahate. So the fact that I am just this body-mind complex, only this much, karta, bhokta, is a false, it's not the truth, but it is not being challenged. And so it continues on like these guys. They have a fun time until it is challenged. When it is challenged, the kartritvam, bhoktritvam, jivatvam, avachinnatvam disappears. They just collapse. So enquiry, vicharam, is essential for... Nobody has challenged this. I go on through my whole life, 70, 80, 90 years, without challenging. If you challenge it, it tends to disappear. It may be slightly different. It may actually fool you for a little longer time. These guys immediately, they will be thrown out anyway, so they left very quickly. But this may take a little time. But eventually, this is what happens. So what that means is that the so-called connection that I have with kartritvam and bhoktritvam is not real. It is aropitam. It is aropitam. Okay. Now how is it arpitam? Why do we say that? Why is it not real? Then we start to inquire. And the first question, Swamiji, I'm just following his methodology. He says, this knower and experiencer thought that I am the knower, is this thought within the body or is it outside the body? That is the question that we have to now inquire. That I am a knower, that I am an experiencer, sure, that much we know. But is it the result of your being the body? Only possible if you have a body and mind? Or can you do this outside of the body? So for this, we need an example. The example is, say there is a sunlight streaming in through a window of a house, bright daylight, and it is falling on a plate full of water. And the water has some turmeric in it. So it's not plain water, it is yellowish water. So the sunlight is falling on this water infused with turmeric or some other color, but let's say turmeric, on a plate. And then from the plate, it is reflecting on the wall. This is the example. So what happens is, that the antakarana that we have is like a plate on which my light is falling on the antakarana. You are the original light which can be looked at as the sunlight, which has nothing to do with turmeric, water, or anything. But the light that is reflecting off of the water is now modified light. And this modified light is coloring the light falling on the walls. And so, what happens is, you think you are the antakarana light, not the original light. You actually are the original light, but because of this reflective phenomena, you take yourself to be the reflective light. So this is what happens when we have close upadhis. Close upadhis means that something very close to you. At the example of the dark glasses. And so what happens is that I am actually the real Sakshi. So this word Sakshi is a very, very interesting word. I think I've already talked about it, but let me repeat it for this time. So it consists of what is called Sa and Akshihi. Sakshihi. Sa stands for Sakshat. And Akshihi means the process of seeing something. So now we can relate this example of the water, the turmeric water, etc. So here's what happens. This is what's happening. Normally, we see the world through my upadhis. So when you see the world and make conclusions about it, and also that leads to the conclusion about yourself. So this is a dual purpose conclusion. This conclusion is based on your seeing only through the upadhis. So when you see something, you make a judgment based on how your mind and eyes and sense organs, what kind of data do they give you? That's how you look at things. And part of that is that you get accustomed to not only accustomed, you just conclude that I am a single individual endowed with all the things that have been given to me, and this is how you interpret the world. Right? So this is what is called, if you want to call it, Jivatma. The Atma is the same, as we will see in a minute. But you have put Jivatvam on top of that. So the Jivatvam, we can extend the Upadhi. The ultimate Upadhi is Jivatvam. And as a jivatvam upadhi, you view the world. You view yourself. And this is exactly what happens in a dream. So in a dream, you don't see the whole dream directly. What you do is you assume a dreamer identification. So you only become one part of the dream, and then you project the other part of the dream as dreamt objects and people. So a single individual, which we will see in a minute, is not understood, but multiple images requiring multiple transactions, multiple problems. All these are brought out by the phenomena of dreaming. So when we talk about upadhis and jivatma and so on, this is not theoretical. This is exactly what we do. And as we have talked about it, Ishvara has given the dream as a very beautiful proof that this is not theoretical, this is exactly what you do, my dear. You're doing it. You're doing it every night. I don't know, I think they've done some research that on an average, you dream what? I think they said about a dozen times, depending on how much you sleep. You dream dozen dreams. And my own experience is, very interestingly, that they are all unrelated to each other. You have one dream, because I usually get up at least once or twice to go to the bathroom during night. So I have one set of dreams that hopefully, if I'm lucky, I can remember in the first time of the need. Then when I go to the second time, it's a completely different dream. And I'm a different character in the dream, in one and in the other one. This is the phenomena. So, the jivatma, if you want to call it a jivatma, is the one that looks at the experiences through the upadhis that they have already endowed with. The most important upadhi for that is your mind. Your mind says, things are not good for you, you are in trouble, those people don't like you, you better become friendly to them, you are too introverted, become more all those kinds of things happen. This is how you evaluate yourself, evaluate the life and so on. Okay. So this is one thing. And what is happening is, look at this. Atma, the Sakshi, so there is a Sakshi. And this Sakshi is now working through the upadhis and making conclusions about himself or herself and others, like a dream. Okay? This is Jivatma. Now let us go to Paramatma. What does the Paramatma do? Paramatma has the same Atma. I am, I know, and I am unlimited. Same Atma. Not any different. Drik Swarupa. Same Atma. And it does not look at anything with an upadhi. It does not look at anything with an upadhi. There is no upadhi, maya there is no mind, there is no upadhi for Ishvara. Then what does it do? It has, this is the true understanding of the word sakshi. Sakshat ikshate iti sakshi. Sakshat ikshate means it sees without an upadhi. It does not use an upadhi for seeing as you and I do, but it sees directly. And it's the same Atma. And seeing directly without the upadhi makes it Ishvara. And this is where the discussion of the Maya Shakti comes in. So one can say, sees directly what? What does he see now? If he doesn't have a upadhi, then what does he see? It sees the whole thing as nothing but myself. This is me. And not really me, the way I am, but my expression. I think the best way to look at it really is that this should not be that obtuse. This is why I think the movie structure, the movie is so beautiful. So imagine that the movie light has consciousness. Just imagine for a minute. Supposing the movie light has been given a consciousness. So if it's been given a consciousness, what will it feel? It will feel, I am a light, a very powerful light that is independent. Nobody can turn me off. This is a powerful light. And somebody will say, I know you are a very powerful light, but what about all these things that you're lighting up? What about them? They are also my own light. They look like they are spread out. They do not have any independent light. You want me to prove it to you? Let me shut myself off voluntarily. Shuts off, everything disappears. He turns it back on. He says, Dee, didn't I tell you? If they are separate from me, they would have stayed on in a separate light even after I tried to turn myself off. But that's not the case. So whoever is arguing with me says, okay, I got it. Okay, you are it. I tell you, this is our situation. The only problem is we don't know we are the powerful light. So in these, some of these lessons and so on, this is the inquiry into the drik. And at the end of this, with study and discussion and all that, you begin to see that I am an indistinguishable light. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. And I am that powerful light. But then what about these the world that you are seeing, doesn't it look all separate from you? Same thing as in the movie light. You begin to see, no, I am the light. And everything else is following me. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vityuto bhanti kuto yam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. We keep chanting everything. Morning, I don't know, we don't do that at lunchtime, I don't forget. Evening, again and again. It's not alien to us. This is what we have to understand. And there is only, this is the interesting thing. This is what Vedantic teaching is all about. When you hear a shloka like this, na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam, what you are thinking about is, this is Ishvara doing it. Yeah, I can understand. I don't know how he does it. Chandra na tatra chandro suryo bhati. It's a some issue. But I am over here just doing my pujas. I'm just sitting in a chair and so on and so forth. Ishvara is saying, foolish person, you and I are not any different. You are doing the same thing. Just look at it yourself. Me? Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. Yes, you. Really? How? Just inquire, do vichara. You're making a wrong conclusion about yourself. Just start. The sun can illuminate everything. Can it illuminate you, the consciousness? In fact, if you are not there, there'll be no sun. In fact, when you go to deep sleep, that sun disappears. Even the possibility of the sun is not there. You are the one that is illuminating everything. You are the ultimate drik. And don't you see that the drik, that the drishya cannot, drik sees the drishya, drishya does not see the drik. The appliance cannot see electricity, electricity is the one that is powering the appliance. So the sun, as we were discussing earlier, is also an appliance. It cannot see the electricity. Don't you see this? And I say, not sure, maybe. This is what we have to do. We have to do vichara very systematically. And then we find out that the drik has been designed in the whole creation to be inherently unaffectable, cannot be affected. In fact, the whole creation will collapse if the drik does not remain constant. Just think about it. It's a funny thing, really. We have how many scientists we have, how many intelligent people, accomplished people, how many PhDs, oh, Nobel Prize winners, this, that, or the other. This is such a funny thing, honestly. And they're all saying, we have to look at what is the nature of consciousness. We are working on it. We will soon find out. We will prove it in a laboratory. This is how it is. My God, I tell you, Vedic, the Vedanta and Shastra and so on, they are so tolerable. You know what we should do? We should take out full-page ads in the Wall Street Journal saying, you are all stupid. You call yourself, and we should say not you, because we'll say, this is a letter addressed to all the scientists. You are idiotic people. And just chat at that. And please call us to say why we say that. You should do that, but we don't. We don't say, it's okay, science, yeah, it's okay, good. It's so obvious. It is so obvious that Drik cannot change. Because if the Drik changes, then you cannot do anything. The observer also changes. You cannot, you get up in the morning and your wife says good morning to you and say, beg your pardon? Who are you? Have we met before? Nothing will go on. You're the same person. You were the one who was a child. And you are the one now grown up. It's the same person, but the drishya keeps changing. You are the same person who is you, and you and I are the same person. There's only one Drik. And what we see is, this is what we have to see, that time does not affect me. It affects the body, but not the consciousness. Desha cannot affect me. Vastu cannot affect me. Okay. We have clearly covered the whole cosmos. Time, place, and variety does not, they all are changing. Swami Akhandananda says, supposing you say, perhaps there is a time when there is no time. How do you know there was no time? You either just imagine, you can do anything if you want to. You can imagine things. But no proof is possible. Because, this is interesting, when somebody says, you know what, I was there when there was no time, then you can say, it has to be a direct proof that somebody saw the absence of time. Time needs you. And the time has so many shades of it. Past, future, present, good time, bad time. When you're having fun, time seems to go faster. If you're sitting in a plane in a middle seat, it seems much, much longer than it is. It is all the function of you. You are always there, but things keep changing. So the conclusion is that Drik cannot affect, Drishya cannot affect Drik. No way. Not possible. Nothing can be done if the Drik changes. So you say, well, that's interesting, wonderful, that's an interesting guy, this Drik who doesn't change. I want to see him. Where is he? So we have a counter question, where is he not? Where is he not? So you'll say, well, I don't know. They should be around here somewhere. How about you? Me? No. I'm not talking about you as a body-mind. I'm talking about you, just you. Could that be the person who's the Drik? Really? Me? Yeah. You are the Drik. So this constant person who is independent of time. You know, this is the interesting thing. This is the teaching. You are looking for someone who is independent of death, independent of change. Always, and independence means happiness. Dependence means dukkha. Independence is sukha. You're looking for it. Can I find such a state, some person? That'd be nice. And we say, you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it. Why? Because, never find it, because you are searching for the searcher. It's you. And you cannot see yourself as a drishya. You don't need to see yourself as a drishya. And if you're foolish enough to say, I want to see, it's exactly like we said earlier, you cannot stand on your own shoulders. You cannot do that. There's no need to do that. That's the problem. I don't understand how I don't need to do it. And this is where the deep sleep is a very good example. As we were discussing, I remember when Swamiji explained this, this is a very beautiful thing. In deep sleep, you don't need to do anything. You are. You don't need to pass any exams. You don't need to be happily married. You don't need to have good food. You don't need anything. But you are happy. That should give us a tremendous amount of data to really chew on. I am inherently Ananda Swarupa. But Ishvara's creation has created a kind of a little bit of a problem. And that is, you may be Ananda Swarupa, but you don't know it. This is what happens. You know, you are Ananda Swarupa every night when you are in deep sleep. but you get up from it saying, I am just a small person. Hey, you are Ananda Swarupa, but you didn't know it. So all it takes is removing the doubt as to who I am. So this is what it says, Yat sakshat kurute prabodha samaye swatmanam eva advayam tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye namaidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. So we'll continue with this analysis. Om asato ma satkamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamad Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.